a go at making an end grain target. So I've just started cutting up the materials. I had a go at axe throwing a couple of weeks ago and I thought it was great fun, and I fancy having a go at home. So price of timber at the moment is quite expensive, but luckily I don't think it's going to cost me anything, because I've got a pile of these. They're about 3 by 3 inch bearers that when I've had building materials delivered to build the shed, I had a pile of these left over that were going to get chucked on a bonfire if I didn't salvage them. So I'm going to chop up a load of these into 6-inch lengths. These are the ones I've got so far. I think I'm going to cut up about 100 of them, because it's probably at the size where somebody experienced at knife or axe throwing would be happy with that sort of size. What's that so far? It's about 40 centimeters square when they're going to be all clamped together. But I'm going to go for slightly larger because I'm new to it. It's going to leave a bigger margin for error then. Okay, so I've decided to stop cutting blocks there. I'm at 9 by 9 blocks, 81 blocks. Luckily I've got a power saw. It doesn't cut them perfectly flat. I think the saw's damaged a little bit, but there you go. So that works out about 61 centimeters square. And then a bit bigger than that once I put the frame around it. So first thing now, I'm gonna just sand all the edges of these blocks so they can compact in a bit tighter together. Hopefully that'll be big enough anyway. Well, it will be depending on what range I throw from. And I think that's going to get quite heavy. It's surprising how many lengths of wood you use. That's over 12 meters of timber cut up there. Right, so I've sanded the edges of the blocks down a bit so they'll fit a bit tighter together. The bearers weren't perfectly square, so I'm going to just do my best to try and clamp them together. And I'm going to use these M10 tie rods that I had with bearers to make a frame, and then just try and clamp them tightly together using the tie rods. It's a little bit trial and error, but I'll just see how we get on. Hopefully we get some sort of target out of it. It's going to be a little bit shorter than I'd hoped. I wanted to ideally have it maybe a foot taller, but it's okay. I can work around that and prop it up, or the land I'll be using it on slightly sloping, so it might work out okay with that anyway if I stand on the lower end. Tight. I think this might actually work. So I've got 2 sets of tie rods now. One set pulling side to side and one up and down. I think it's a bit different to the other target boards I've seen. There's some far better ones on YouTube, but this is just my version of it so far anyway. And I'm going to have, this is the back of the target board, so I'm going to have a board across here, or whatever wood I can find to screw all these into. And then, yeah, I've got a tie rod exposed there, so I need to block that off with a plank or something, because I just don't want the axe or throwing knife hitting the metalwork and getting damaged. But I think I should be able to get them fairly secure. Can't tell that they're loose at all. And I can crank these nuts up a bit tighter. I'm happy with that so far. I wasn't sure they were going to be sort of tight enough, so there's no screws or any fixings on those blocks there. I've got 81 blocks in there now, all held together just by the 4 tie rods. Now, I can't find any plywood or MDF or any kind of boarding, so the only thing I've got plenty of now is offcuts of battens, which is treated timber. So as I'm making the whole thing out of scrap wood, I think these will do the job just to help secure each of the blocks. So I'll attach a pile of those next. I decided to put the battens on the other side, which wasn't quite as tidy, so you won't see this side. If I'd have done a bit more forward planning, I could have taken these darker pieces and made a little square in the middle, but there you go. Maybe I'll paint a circle target or something on the facing side. I'll just use these 5x50mm screws, so they'll go in plenty just to hold these in place in case you get a loose one, it won't go out. That's that stage done. All the blocks are locked in place with a screw each. That's the ground stands bolted on with these M8 150s. So I just need to brace that then. So I'll have to use something like this rail, bolt that on there, space that out down there, and then put a bolt through. The bolts aren't gonna, these bolts only just go through these bits of timber, so I might have to sort of just recess the nut hole. There's not going to be enough material left, I think, if I countersink that in. I think I'll have to get some 180s or 200s. I'll only need 2 of them anyway. Right, I think that's about finished now. I've finished making the stand for it. And I've put some bits of timber to guard the metalwork so my axe doesn't get damaged on the bolts and tie rods sticking out. I could just chop them off with an angle grinder, but I've left them just in case I want to dismantle it and reuse the bolts for something else if the target doesn't work. It should do though. I've had to whack one wedge in there where there was a bit of a gap, but it's very dry in here at the moment, so I think you're supposed to pour some water over the ends of the end grain anyway, so that the blade of the axe or knife will stick better. But also, if you put a bit of water on it, the timber will expand and make all the blocks tightly fitted together anyway. So the next challenge is going to be lifting this thing up and carrying it outside, because it doesn't look that big, but it's very heavy. Halfway break. Not too bad. So this is my target finished. Time to test it out. It's a good weight to set if nothing else. Probably weighs at least 60 kilograms. Yeah, I'd say. So it's quite sturdy.